Next speaker is Karmen Ramírez Boscan from YU Women's Force. The floor is yours, Karmen. Great, thank you.
Buenos días. I also will try to help my English with my Spanglish notes that I have been taking during the whole session. And, well, I want just to highlight a quotation. In many contexts, women in Latin America face an uphill battle to maintain even the most basic human rights. This is magnified for indigenous women. There have been some significant international treaties and conventions created to address such a problem. However, due to a host of reasons, they have proven to be ineffective. So developing such a body of law is crucial in protecting indigenous women without thorough educational programs utilizing any legal infrastructures is highly unlikely. Even without educational impediments, women in our communities are stigmatized and pushed to the periphery of hyper-patriarchal societies. Even throughout our own indigenous communities, women are excluded from the decision-making processes, unable to lobby or build toward better representation and ultimately implementing strategic plans developed for and by indigenous women. And this is one of the points I wanted to highlight about intersectionality among indigenous women, particularly in Latin America, but Colombia specifically, and is that gets attention and analysis only, and that is that intersectionality gets attention and analysis only when an external factor, particularly the dominant culture or states themselves, are involved, and not when our own cultural practices produce or even replicate intersectionality, discrimination, exclusion, and oppression against indigenous women. When cultural practices produce intersectionality in indigenous communities, it is justified as our cultural permanence, conservation, and perpetuation of our custom traditions and civilizations. The legitimate and pertinent focus on defending indigenous peoples' customs and traditions must in no way be used as an excuse to postpone the essential debate and even take action on cultural practices. When certain indigenous traditions place women under subordination, it can obviously trigger intersectionality. In this scenario of tradition and change, indigenous women face a twofold challenge. First, it is our duty to contribute to the promotion and strengthening and revitalization of our traditional cultures. Second, and most importantly, we should go further the debate and take action on the need to transform our cultural traditions that have become obstacles for strengthening of indigenous women. I also want to refer about resources. As a need not only for domestic investment, stakeholders should address policy and implementation, but other resources should be addressed to support indigenous women initiatives and processes. Impacting changes for indigenous women should ensure that can be handled by indigenous women without the imposition of the international resources mandates, which are focused from an external view of needs and given too little on indigenous women real priorities.
Karmen,
what are the priorities? What are the priorities of indigenous women? Mother Earth. For indigenous communities like the YU people, my tribe, my community, who are located in the Colombian and Venezuela border, one Maicat, or Mother Earth, is the woman who gave birth to the whole humanity. So for us, exploitation of natural resources is nothing less than raping women.
Karmen, I think we're going to need to
stop there. Mother Earth is referred to land rights and even to reproductive rights when we talk about resources. Also to collective rights, as Mother Earth have gave birth to the whole humanity. Thank you very much.